Hello and welcome to the Pete Braley Show. Thank you so much for tuning in. On this show, we shine the spotlight on people that have contributed to making life better here in Greater New Bedford and Southeastern Massachusetts. As many of you know, I was on WBSM radio for a number of years, and for many of those years, we had a Sunday morning show hosted by Bruce Kalver. It was called the Nostalgia Times radio program, and I'm happy to reconnect and spend some time today with Bruce Kalver. Bruce, welcome.
Thanks for having me on the show.
Great to have you. And I before we get started, what is this thing?
I don't know. What is it?
It looks like something that maybe they had in the Twilight Zone in the intro.
Kind of.
Spinning, yeah.
This was a magic effect, the world's greatest magic illusion, that I created many years ago.
Really?
For school shows, yeah. And you want to see it?
I'd love to.
Okay. We're not sure it's going to work, but I'd like everybody here to try.
Okay.
Everybody watching, try. The first 3 rows of our audience, give it a try.
Okay.
We'll see what happens.
Best for them. All
you
right,
never
so
know.
We'll go right in the middle here.
I need you to stare at the whole spiral, not just the middle, but the whole spiral. I'm going to start spinning it, and I'm going to count backwards from 10 to 1. And when I say 1, you're going to look at my face. But keep staring at the spiral. I promise this won't hypnotize you, okay? 10, or at least not consciously. 10, 9, 8. I can't wait for you to see the end. 7, 6, 5. Keep staring. 4, 3. Get ready. When I say 1, you look at my face, okay? 2, 1. Look at my face. I know. I know. It's crazy, right? It's crazy. Okay. So that was one of the first magic effects that I created.
Did I read you were once Rhode Island's youngest magician?
Magician, yes.
Yeah.
That was my my banner. Rhode Island's youngest magician. I was 10 years old.
Wow.
In fact, one time, my great story on that is, we were all over Rhode Island doing magic shows and things at age 10, because I come from an entertainment family.
Did I read that your grandfather was associated with Harry Houdini somehow?
Yeah, he was an assistant to Houdini.
Wow.
Yeah, built some of his props and things like that.
Cool.
So luckily, thankfully, my grandfather lived with us, and I became his sorcerer's apprentice, if you want to call it that. But when I was 10 years old, my family did a trip to Florida, and I bought a postcard. And the only address I put on it was Rhode Island's youngest magician. We wanted to see if it would get to me.
Okay.
And it got to me. I know.
Wow.
I know. It was like the greatest day. I go, look, they know me in Rhode Island. And there it was. So I want to warn you today that this is a 3-hour show, right? So we're okay with that? No? Okay.
No.
I am suffering, and the word is suffering, from long COVID right now.
Yes, I wanted to get to that.
I'm not contagious.
Okay.
But those of you out there who have long COVID, you have my sympathies, because it is horrible. I have brain fog, which is why I have these big cue cards,
yeah,
with all my stuff. I have no energy whatsoever. So, and I don't know if you've noticed since I've come here, I talk slower so that my brain can keep up with what's going on, and a few other things that are going on. So excuse me if I can't find that last word of the sentence.
I can relate. We were talking
for different reasons.
I had a stroke 9 years ago. You've had long COVID since September, you said?
October.
Yeah.
October. I went to Texas to do a magic show, and the only thing I brought back from Texas was COVID. That's what happened.
All right, so you were a magician starting. When did you start? The age of 6, did I read?
10. Oh, I started at 6 training
Yeah.
and learning from my grandfather. And then when I was 10 years old, my mother was a nightclub singer and a performer. She was on the radio when she was little on Major Beau's Amateur Hour.
Right.
I remember we found that episode.
And you played it on
the radio show. I played it on the air. It was,
yeah.
And that week, I guess there was no news going on. We made the front page of the New Bedford Standard Times talking about how I found her recording.
I remember seeing that.
Yeah. So I have lots of great memories of working WBSM.
Tell me about that. We'll get back to the magic in just a bit, and we've got cards here too. So, how did that show come to be? It was the Nostalgia Times radio program, and program was spelt with 2 M's and an E, right?
Right, the British way.
The British way, yeah.
The British way.
Was that your idea? Did you pitch it to the station? What happened?
Didn't even pitch it to the station.
Yeah.
So this goes back to when I was about 6 or 7 years old. That my mother, who one day you'll read my book, and my mother had some horrible episodes as a performer and never slept. She was up all night.
Oh, wow.
So she would see the late movie, the late movie, the late movie.
The sign off, the national anthem.
All of that, all of that. And I would wake up hearing the TV play, and I would go downstairs and watch the movies with her. And I was like 6, 7 years old. Mm-hmm. So I got this great, in my mind of all these old radio shows and TV shows and movies and trivia and so forth. So from the age of 6, I developed this trivia inside of me. And I was always a guest on somebody's show on the radio. And they were always amazed that, this 12, 13, 15-year-old kid, 20-year-old kid knew all this old stuff. And so they would always say to me, oh, come on, be a guest, be a guest. And I was a guest on Dave Kane's show.
Right.
There's a name from the past.
Yeah. Still around. He's
around.
On WARA in Attleboro.
Is he really?
On Saturdays.
He moves around.
Yeah.
He moves around.
So he invited you in.
He invited me in, and we just kind of clicked together as we worked off of each other very well. And when it was over, the program director came in and said, how would you like your own show? Had no thought of doing radio, had none of that. And I said, I could do it on Sunday mornings because I'm a magician. I work all, and they said, okay. And they gave me 2 hours the first month. And they had somebody in with me just in case I ran out of things to talk about.
And knowing you
that never happened. That never happened. And so the person that was there said, I don't need to stay here. He left.
And you did that for 17 years?
Close to 18 years.
Close to 18 years.
Close to 18 years.
And on that show, we met Eric and Wendy, right?
We met Eric and Wendy.
Yeah.
And so Eric became my Ed McMahon.
This is his son.
My son. And Wendy was born during the first few weeks of my show.
Oh, wow.
And so Eric is now 37.
Okay.
37. Wow.
Yeah, I know.
37 years old. He is in Hollywood. And those of you that are out there that listen to, you have grandchildren, and you're listening to Coco Melon.
Oh, yes.
Coco Melon shows.
My grandson used to love that.
And the parents hate it. But the kids love it. It's not for the parents.
My oldest son just had a baby, and they said, she is not going to watch Coco Melon.
No, she will.
I said, dude, it's a good show, but it's not for you.
Well, Eric was the music supervisor for Coco Melon.
Okay.
So, and two songs that are on that show. He's worked with all the songs that are on that show. But there are 2 specific songs that he wrote himself.
Oh, really?
So, yeah. So if you see the travel song, or you see the song about, I think it's called the Pumpkin song.
Pumpkin?
Yeah.
Okay.
That's little Eric Kalver performing there. So Coco Melon, he finished his Coco Melon job. He was there for a few years. And now he's working for Netflix.
Oh, wow.
So he's a music supervisor for Netflix. For their commercials. So any commercial for all their shows that are on.
Right.
He has to watch every show that's on Netflix.
Oh, really?
And figure out the music for the commercials.
For the promos.
Yeah.
And Wendy, what is Wendy up to?
So Wendy moved out to L.A. You see, my kids moved as far away as they could from their mother and father.
Gee, what does that say?
I know. But Wendy moved out to California to eventually become a script writer.
Oh, cool.
Realized that she didn't have to live in California to be a script writer. She could do it from anywhere. And had a big interest in speech and language pathology.
Oh, cool.
And so she had to move back to New York to go to university. What is it? The New York School of Medicine.
Okay.
And became a speech and language pathologist.
Oh, that's great.
And moved back to LA because she liked LA to do that. And she just got married in October.
Oh, cool. And is she still writing? She's
On her own, she's
her
writing
own?
and doing her stuff. She's a great writer and a very funny lady.
Right.
And but she just got married in Eric's backyard.
Oh, how nice.
On his tennis court.
Sure.
So I know you feel the same way. You always want your kids to do better than you.
Yes. Yeah.
You always want them to be a step above, and they have.
Great.
And they have. So they're out there.
You see them often?
Doing great. Well, when I work at the Magic Castle in Hollywood.
I wanted to ask you about that because I know you've been associated with them for a while.
Long time.
I do want to see these card tricks. So
yeah, there's a deck of cards in there.
All right.
That's our last trick.
Our last trick.
That's our last trick. But I have some other cards.
Okay. So a card trick is next. But first, to people that don't know, the Magic Castle is like
the Mecca.
That's the word I want.
Mecca.
See, you found the word
magic.
before I did.
It's written down there. The Magic Castle is a private club for magicians and their guests.
Okay.
It has a gourmet dining inside. Think of it as like a cross between a country club and a private club.
Okay.
And you have to know someone or be a magician to get in.
Okay.
And then they have about 15 or 18 magicians that perform there every week.
Wow. So you're performing in front of magicians
and general
and their guests. Is that intimidating at all?
Not at all.
And do the magicians sit there and say, "I know how he did that"?
They never say, "I know how they did that."
Yeah.
And like people will ask me, "Do you know every trick?" Well, no. There are only 15 tricks you can do. There are only 15. There are, lots of methods.
Right.
But like there's making something appear, making something disappear,
I
making
see what you
something
mean.
float, making something. So if you learn ways to do those 15 things,
Right.
you pretty much know. So a magician watching another magician is not trying to be fooled. He's trying to see if this person is clever, if they've come up with something unusual.
Oh, okay.
So I look at a magician and I go, "Oh, that's really clever. Oh, why didn't I think of that?"
Yeah.
and that's what I do. But the Magic Castle is one block from like the Chinese Theater or Hollywood Boulevard.
Oh, yeah,
and it's a big mansion. And if you go there and you spend an evening, you could spend 8 hours in there, and you'll only see a quarter of it.
Oh, wow.
Because there's so much that goes on in there. I am honored to say that professional magicians usually work there a few times, a couple of times.
Yeah.
I just did my 10th appearance there.
Wow.
Yeah, my 10th appearance there. And I go there every year. It allows me to see the kids.
Right.
And perform and try out new stuff.
That's cool. That's cool.
Yeah, it's a great place. So when you go to LA, you let me know.
I'll definitely.
And I will get you into the Magic Castle.
All right, let's get to is it a card trick you have?
I have a card trick. I'll show you a card trick.
Now, first I have to say,
yes.
I read on your website, brucekalver.com.
I know what you're going to bring up.
What's that?
I know what you're going to bring up. Go ahead.
In 1975,
That's
Bruce
right.
set a world record for doing the most card tricks in one setting without repeating. You went 13 hours?
I did.
So how many card tricks do you know?
And I still had some left over that I could have done.
Oh, wow.
But I was getting tired. I did every card trick standing up. So that was
okay. 13 hours.
And never took a rest break either.
Wow.
So that was a record, I guess. 13 hours
yeah.
of doing that. Yeah. I did that. It's not been, no one has tried to top it because it's hard.
Yeah, I would think so.
It's hard to do.
I think so.
And if you have a few hours, I could show you a few. Yeah. We don't have to go 13. But
Okay. So what do you got for us?
most magicians use bicycle playing cards. They're the best cards in the world.
Is there a reason for that? Or
They're the best cards in the world. They
Okay.
last for a long time. Bicycle playing cards, which are in Kentucky. I don't know if you've ever been there.
Kentucky, not yet, no.
So, unfortunately, last year when I bought this particular deck of cards, we're the only ones that go into BJ's and buy the dozen cards at a time because we use them. And boy, You think that your prices in groceries are going up? They used to be $12 a dozen. They're now $20 a dozen.
Whoa,
Yeah.
okay.
And I bought this deck, and it was during the time that the Bicycle Playing Card Company, U.S. Playing Card Company, was on strike. So I bought the deck, and look at this. I don't know if you can see this or not. I don't know which camera to use. But you'll see there's nothing printed on the fronts, and there's nothing printed on the back, which makes it really hard to do a card trick, right?
I would think so, yeah.
Or easy, because you'd pick a card. And
You can say whatever, yeah.
I can say whatever, and I'd be right.
You can say, it is the ace of spades.
Yeah, well, I remembered what they were. What's that one?
I don't know.
It's the 4 of spades.
Oh, okay.
All right, so what you have to do, and I figured out a way that I can use these because, I mean, there's nothing on the fronts and there's nothing on the backs, which is kind of silly. But if you think of a card and you can print it, like if I thought of the 2 of spades, I make a cut and I have a 2 of spades. But you see, the back is blank because I didn't think of the back, see? Or for example, 4 of clubs, let's do 4 of clubs. You get a 4 of clubs, but there's no back. But if you wanted to produce a back, you have to think of the back. And since this is a blue deck, let's do a blue deck.
I'm going to get close.
So you can get as close as you want. But I didn't think of the front, so the front's fine.
Oh, okay.
So it's really hard to do a card trick with these because you have to think of 52 fronts
and
52 backs.
Right.
And even with long COVID, I am able to create a full deck of cards with 52 fronts and 52 backs. But it's kind of hard to get your mind going on it.
Yeah.
So if you start forgetting about it, they all turn to blank. So I really can't show you with this deck, but that deck I'll show you later on. But I thought it was interesting that they went on strike and stopped it.
Bravo. Do you remember
very
the first trick you learned?
Yeah.
Yeah, what was it?
How to cut a deck of cards. Wait, do I have it here? I can show you. No, I don't. Okay. How to cut a deck of cards with one hand.
With one hand?
One hand, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I was very young. Maybe this will work.
So would you say card tricks are your specialty, or
No, not at all.
Okay.
Not at all. But I did 13 hours. I'm done.
Yeah. Okay.
I'm done. So back then, you know those little mini decks of cards that they used to sell?
Yeah.
So that's what I would use. And my grandfather, I kept begging him to teach me a trick, and he said, I'll show you one thing. If you learn it, I'll show you another thing.
Okay.
And he thought that by showing me this that I wouldn't continue. And this is what it was. It was cutting a deck of cards with one hand.
Okay.
And with little hands trying to do that, there were cards all over the floor.
52 pickup, right?
And then I was smart enough to realize, let me practice over a bed. Then I don't have to reach out and do that. But now, having done all these years of that, besides cutting a deck of cards in one hand, and this is a rough morning, let's see, I'm able to, shuffle a deck of cards with one hand.
Wow.
So, do you want to play some cards? We can.
If I tried that, they would be all over the set. They would be.
I'm going to tell you a story that I don't think I've ever told publicly.
What's that?
When I was about 4 years old, my parents bought at Sears, believe it or not, a roller coaster.
They bought a roller coaster?
Yeah, for a kid's backyard.
Okay,
It was like
all right.
Like a jungle gym
Little
thing.
Tykes play yard.
Right,
yeah.
but this was a roller coaster that went all over the yard. And my sister and I sat on the grass watching them put these poles in the ground and build this roller coaster. And they got to the point where they were almost done, and my sister looked over at me and she said, "What are all those red dots on your face?"
On your face?
On my face. And it was chickenpox.
Oh, no.
And my mother grabbed me and my sister, and we brought us in the bedroom, and we were mad because we wanted to play with the roller coaster.
Of course.
And I was in bed crying over the fact that I couldn't get on the roller coaster now. And my grandfather came in. This was the very first time he showed me a magic trick. Right? That was the day.
Wow.
And so he came in and he said, hey, let me show you something. And he did some things for me. One thing he did, I still do not know how he did, and I'm still trying to figure it out.
Wow.
Yeah, it was really
To this
good.
day, huh?
To this day. I'm trying to put it in my show, and I don't know how. And that was my first introduction to magic. So roller coaster, chicken pox, deck of cards. that was the start of it all.
Oh, I also read, by the way, that you will not see Bruce pull a rabbit out of his hat because you're allergic to rabbits.
Allergic to rabbits.
I hope you didn't find that out by doing that trick.
Did do it.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Had to do a commercial for Albert's Furniture.
Oh, yes.
Magic May Sale. And they called me up and they said, we're looking for a magician for this commercial, but there are conditions. I go, yes. Do you have a tuxedo? Yes. Do you have a top hat? Yes. Do you have a white rabbit? And I went, yes. I didn't have a rabbit.
Didn't have one, yes.
But you say yes. You know?
Right, to get the
and
job.
They said, okay, we'll see you Monday at the studio. So I called a friend and I said, you've got a white rabbit. Monday morning at 8 a.m., I'm picking up that rabbit. I'm going to use it in the show. He says, I'm going away for a week. I got a gig. He goes, you can take the rabbit, but you got to keep it for the weekend.
For the week, yeah.
And I was sick as a dog from that rabbit. That I got less time on that commercial than the rabbit because I looked so awful.
Did it hit you right away? Yeah.
Immediately.
All right. So what's it? You told me to ask you about a 3D printer.
Okay.
So what's the story with that?
So those that listen to me on the radio show,
the Nostalgia Times
radio program, knew that I was big into technology.
Yep.
Okay. And so I was always going above and beyond what the station could possibly do. You know, plugging things in.
Yeah,
first to use the internet, first to use, because there was nothing there.
No,
you know?
There wasn't.
So finished the show in 2008. It's now 2013, let's say. And I wanted to get a 3D printer to make magic props and things. So I go to Boston, I go to an electronics store there that was having a sale on 3D printers. Mm-hmm. And my daughter wanted one too. So I printed out 2 coupons because they were on sale. And I go to the store in Boston, and I'm at the register, and I say to this young woman at the register who's like 19, 18, 20, and I say to her, listen, I'm buying two different things. Can I use both? She says, well, let's see. So I'm talking to her, and I hand her the coupon, and I hand her my credit card, and she went, wait. She said, are you the Bruce Kalver that used to be on WBSM?
And you're in Boston?
On Sunday mornings. I'm in Boston talking to a 19-year-old.
Right.
I go, what? How would you know that? You know? And I said, I am, but how would you know that? And she said, when I was little, I grew up in New Bedford, and my grandmother listened to you every week.
Wow.
And we listened to you too. She said, and I never forgot your laugh, and you were really funny, and we didn't mind listening at all. Who would know, right? You obviously get this.
I run into things like that at times, yeah, and it
you're
always
in a Walmart. Or you're
and it always. I just sit there and I go, wow, you know,
that left an impression.
Yeah,
that's the greatest thing about being on the radio,
local radio, yeah.
That you have no idea what impression you're going to leave on whatever you're going to say. Did you ever have any suicides call you? I had 2.
I think I had 1.
Yeah, I had 2. We helped somebody.
Oh, yeah.
It is the scariest thing.
It is scariest thing.
You don't want to say the wrong thing.
Right. You gotta sort of suspend the whole show because you got to focus.
Correct.
On
you don't want to put them on the show.
Right.
Because that's not fair to them or any of that. And in fact, one of the people, it's a long story, and we don't have
the time. Yeah.
Sends me a Christmas card every year.
Someone
and says, I'm still here.
Oh, wow. That's great.
I'm
That's
still
fantastic.
here. Thanks a lot.
Yeah.
If you're out there watching this, I hope you are. I appreciate your cards every year, and I think about you all the time.
But, do you really have your 50th anniversary coming up?
Of marriage?
Of doing magic?
No, I'm past 50.
Past 50. All right, marriage?
Marriage?
I'm at 44.
Are you?
Yep.
All right, so this year in May, it'll be 48.
Okay, so we're getting there.
So we're getting to the 50th.
Yeah.
So being a magician, can't do it a normal way.
No, of course not.
You know what magicians' wives say?
What?
That no other wives say?
What?
there's too much magic in our life. That's what they say.
As opposed to there's just not enough magic anymore.
Right?
Yeah.
So here's what happened. I have friends all over the world that are magicians, almost like relatives. You know, they're very close. And I was at a magic conference in Buffalo, New York last year. And my friend Eve from England said, how are you and Arlene? I said, Arlene, we're fine. I said, in fact, our 50th anniversary is coming up, and we're coming to visit you. We're coming to England, and I want to take Arlene to cities that she has not seen.
Okay.
So have you been to England?
Yes.
New England.
No, I actually, but only London.
Okay, great city.
It is.
Like a clean New York.
Yep.
There's also Bath.
But I've heard of that.
Bath.
Yeah.
Not Bath.
Not Bath.
Bath. And this woman lives in Bath. And I said, yeah, we're coming to Bath for the 50th. And Bath looks like, if you've ever seen the original Willy Wonka.
Yes.
That's what the town looks like.
Okay.
It's got the candy shops and the things. And
Sure.
So she said, you're coming to Bath? I said, yeah. She says, you know what I do in England, right? I said, besides magic? No. She said, I officiate weddings at Stonehenge. Yeah, there's the response right
So
there.
are you going to?
Yeah, we are. We're going to renew our vows
at Stonehenge.
right on the circle.
Oh wow!
How would you get this opportunity and not do it?
The people you meet
and not do it, right? So we're going to every magician. I tell this every. Can we come?
Yeah.
Can we? Because you can't go on the stones anymore.
Oh,
You're like a half a mile away looking. But if you're doing this.
Yeah.
She's getting us on the stones.
I told you I'd have trouble with we're almost All
right, can we do this last trick?
We only have a few minutes left. So yeah,
Okay.
What do we do here?
You didn't look at this.
No,
you have to trust us that we didn't arrange
No, I
this.
have not seen it. No.
Okay, how much time do I have?
We've got about 4 minutes.
All right, great.
Don't go by that.
Nope. No, I heard. Missing number. So I've already done the trick. I've reversed a card in that deck.
Okay.
There's one card that is turned over. That's my prediction. Okay? I want you to think in your mind from ace through king. Don't say an ace, because that's an obvious one.
Yeah.
All right? You have to trust us. We did not prepare this.
No, I know. I have no idea what's going on.
Name a card.
2 of diamonds.
Really?
Yeah.
Do you want to change your mind? You don't have to.
I don't have to.
But I want to give you that option, because later on when you watch this, you're going to go, I should have said. Do you want to keep the 2 of diamonds?
Now you got me wondering.
Whatever you want to do.
All right, 7 of clubs.
Oh, so you changed.
I changed it, yeah.
Okay, so you changed to 7 of clubs.
Right.
All right. Let's see if I got it right. This was last night.
He does not know what I was going to say.
No, not at all.
We have not talked about that. I didn't know what the trick was.
No, you did not. Okay, so if I look in the deck here, and if we look through the deck, you'll notice no card is turned. Wait. What card did you say?
7 of clubs.
You said the 7 of clubs.
Yeah.
Ironically, the 7 of clubs now is turned over in the deck. Thank you for changing your mind. And it's also the only red card in the deck, which makes it even more exciting.
Wow.
So you can write to Pete and ask him if we prearranged anything. We did not. You can see the look on Pete's face. He now thinks I'm a witch.
And I have learned over the years, talking with you and also talking with Lynn Dillies, I am so I'm so tempted to say, how'd you do that? But
Very well, I thought.
You're not going to tell me, are you?
No. And I just want to throw in, because we don't have time, Arlene, shortly after I left the radio show, developed a 4th stage lymphoma cancer.
I remember that, yeah.
And she, by miracles and young doctors, is no longer with cancer, but it affected her walking.
Oh.
So she now can't walk without assistance.
Okay.
But she's going to England.
But she's cancer-free and she's going to England,
She's
huh?
going to England. And she's fine. It's been 8 years, 9 years now.
And
there you go.
Best of luck to you with this long
Thank
COVID.
you. Thank you.
I hope it comes to an end soon for you.
I hope I'm getting rid of the O's and
Because
long.
it's kind of restricted your travel and performing, right?
Yeah, it has.
Yeah. So
Yeah,
I hope you get back on stage soon.
Thanks.
So-
Let's see, I'm going to get you to the Magic Castle someday.
Yes, I would love
to see
that.
my West Coast home.
Thank you so much.
Thank
Time
you.
has flown by. Bruce
for having
Kalver,
me.
everybody. Now, remember, if you know of someone that you think we should have on the show who's made an impact, made life good around here, please let me know. You can message me on Facebook. I'm on X, and you can find me. The email is thepetebraleyshow@gmail.com. That's thepetebraleyshow@gmail.com.
Nobody had that?
No, ironic.
Amazing.
We always wrap up with a thought for the day, and our thought this week is mindset is everything. Once you believe you can achieve something, you most likely will. And that comes from Carol Dweck. Thanks, Bruce.
Thank you.
No matter what, go out and make it a great day.